Welcome back to NADA Live. My name is Jonathan Colleggio, and I'm here with Shaun Skinner. Shaun is president of Isuzu Commercial Trucking America and Isuzu Commercial Truck of Canada.
That is correct.
So, a lot of buzz at the NADA ATD show. Tell us, if you could, about Isuzu's relationship with its dealer network and how that kind of plays into your business model.
Very good question. We are a medium-duty specialist, so our dealer network is roughly about 285, give or take a few dealers, depending on what's going on. But we feel that we use our size to our advantage. We feel that our relationship with our dealers is good, in fact, great. Last 2 years in a row, we've come in first place in the ATD Dealer Attitude Survey that they do. But we feel that using our size of being a smaller company and really zeroing in on the needs of our dealers and our customers works to our advantage. And coming to a show like this to continue that form of communication, not only with the dealers in the make meeting, face-to-face meetings, but also going through the different convention part and learning at NADA also. There's a lot for us to learn on what's happening on the light duty side too.
Indeed. Now, you guys, in the partnership with your dealers, it's a deeply integrated model where it's not just about the sales, but it's deep in service and parts, totally integrated. It's your life cycle business model.
Correct, and we spoke about that briefly. Well, we call it the life cycle business model, and it's a pretty simple concept. The reality is that what you want to ensure is a good customer experience. But in doing so, we do programs like our oil maintenance coverage, where if a customer buys one of our diesel products, the first 2 years or 50,000 miles is covered as far as the general maintenance. And the purpose behind that is not only getting an opportunity for the customer to come in and ensure quality of the product, it also is building that longer term relationship with the customer, so we know that their ownership experience is going to be better. So when they have a need for whether it be parts and service, a used truck, new truck, they're going to end up coming back to the Isuzu dealership. So I think we work in conjunction very well with our dealers to create a longer term relationship with the customers and build that rapport. I always joke to say that I went through this Franklin Planner training years ago, and a lot of people may remember what that is. And they said, you have to do something for 3 weeks really for it to become habit. And I said, if we can't create a great habit for the customer coming back after 2 years or 50,000 miles, then we've done something wrong. So we work with our dealers to ensure there's a high level of satisfaction, a good ownership experience, and then as that customer has different requirements as they evolve, maybe need a larger truck, a different truck, or add to their fleet, they're going to be coming back to our dealers.
Back to your dealers, back to your brand.
Exactly.
And so you've been with Isuzu for 30 years. How long have you guys been on that trajectory of life cycle?
I would say probably aggressively like the last 8 to 10 years. We really tried to look at what would be the our overall business model, what could we hang our hat on for the long term, and we came up in our little phrase inside when we first did it was sell the customer their first truck, their last truck, and everything in between. And it's that everything in between that is so critical to make sure that they come back when they need that next service or they need the next truck. So I would say aggressively for the last 10 years. And the litmus test has been when we come out with new programs, do they fit in supporting our dealer network to sell them something that the customer needs? A new truck, used truck, extended warranties, whether it be on new or used vehicles. We've always tried to give them pieces to keep them in that life cycle business model, so we keep them more attached to our dealers. And that builds value in the brand, but it also builds value in the dealer brand. And we look for them to not only just rest their laurels on what we're doing as an OEM, but also how do they develop a brand image of their own, because they're going to be the ones that are able to reach out and work with those customers. Tom was up here earlier, he said, look, we don't sell anything. Our dealers, and he's absolutely right, our dealers are the ones that sell to the customers, and we have to make sure that we give them that level of support that they can continue to do that day in, day out.
They're almost kind of your eyes and ears on the ground about the quality of your product, the whole entire customer relationship experience, it sounds like.
Absolutely. They have to be. They have their finger on the pulse. We can't have our finger on the pulse in every market around the U.S., and you have to rely upon them to allow for that ability to really read into what's going to be different in New York versus what you might find in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Dallas, Texas. And they get the subtleties of the market. I don't know that we always do. They have a much clearer read on what's going on with that, and we have to rely upon their expertise.
So you're going to have your have you had your make meeting yet?
We did. We just finished with it, and I look uninjured. I hope it went quite well. So,
and so twice a year, NADA ATD, we meet with all of the manufacturers, both on the car side and on the truck side, with our dealer attitude survey. Tell us about the importance of those meetings with regard to your business plans.
I think that those meetings are important to us because while we go out and elicit feedback from our dealers to better understand what can we do better, the ATD survey is wonderful for us because it really gives you some relevance on how are you doing versus your competition, but also the dealers seem to take it a little bit more seriously, and we do a good job of asking some open-ended questions. So not only do we get feedback on what would be the normal questions that you see on the survey, we also try and elicit a response from them to take us one step further to say, okay, great that you answered all those questions and that feedback really helps us, but let's leave it a little bit open-ended and try and get into your mind a little bit more. So it is a formalized method of trying to understand how can we raise our level of play to better meet their needs so they're able to better meet their customer needs. Because ultimately, we talked to our team about, we can have an A-level plan. If it isn't executed well by the dealers, the C-level, you're going to get a C-level result. So as good as we try on all this stuff, we're not the face of the franchise. Our dealers are. So we need to collect as much feedback as we can from them. As I said, and I continue to use it, but to continually raise our level of play so we can assist them and work as a team to cooperatively do a better job for the end user.
Now in automotive, both on the car and on the truck side, you don't hear about it as much on the truck side, but there's this whole, you can't go to an automotive conference these days without hearing about electrification,
right.
Autonomy, all the new safety features. There are a lot of huge developments happening on the trucking side. Can you talk about those?
Yeah, and you see a lot of publicity, particularly in the Class 8 right now. I know Tesla has entered into that. You probably see a little less in the footprint that we occupy, which we're really in Class 3 through 6 right now.
Last mile.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of last mile, which we could have a whole different topic of discussion about. But I believe that the time is here that we are going to start to see more and more conversations about it. I still think that we're off as far as mass marketing of it, and you could get into the discussion of the infrastructure ability to sustain all of that. But as an OEM who we have, specialize in diesel engines, and we also sell gas engines here in the United States, we have to keep that technology going because we know there is quite a run that we'll still have customers requiring that. At the same time, there needs to be an investment made in these advanced technologies because of the fact that you can't be asleep at the wheel. So we're in what I would call more of the monitoring phase now, where we have started to do some electric vehicle platforms. We're supplying them to some of our larger customers, those that are able to provide us with a good amount of feedback and a lot of operational data so we can better understand how are these vehicles going to be used, what are the requirements for them, and that as we get to that point in time where they become, I would say, more accepted by the market more able to take them on, and a better understanding of the segments that they would fit in, that we're able to meet those customer needs. And I know technology will continue to evolve, but if you don't start to dip your toe in the water, get in the pool, at some point you're going to be left behind. So you do have to invest a lot in the technologies that still have to meet the emissions regulations that we're going to have to do, and we'll have to see those carrying us forward. But at the same time, you've got to start to look at some of these advanced technologies and how you will integrate and phase into those nicely, I would say, hopefully smoothly.
Yeah, I mean, one of the huge advancements over the last 20 years on the truck side in emissions. I mean, one of the things we learned is that in many cities across the country, the air coming out of a truck can sometimes be cleaner than the air going into it. And what we heard earlier today on the car side, it's important to constantly be renewing the fleet, because as the fleet is renewed, older, less efficient, and more pollutive trucks are moving out of the fleet,
yes,
and the new ones. So talk about, if you could talk a little bit about emissions and how you guys are focused on clean trucking, basically.
Good question, and I would say one of the things that we're focused on clean truck, and a great example, our Class 6 offering is a F-Series, and it is powered by a 4-cylinder engine, better fuel economy, and we are the first to be in that segment with the 4-cylinder engine. We believe it offers, and it does, based on our testing, superior fuel economy. And and I know that isn't exactly to emissions, but greenhouse gases is really the next big frontier. So we believe that as you look to the future, not only will it be the technologies that you have in after treatment, which again we could spend a lot of time on that, but also how do we meet these next round of emission standards, which are really going to focus on greenhouse gases. And something like that 4-cylinder engine in the F-Series, we believe is going to it'll take a little time to get some momentum. Mm-hmm. It's a little different for everybody to look at. We've had some good sales, starting to land some bigger accounts with it. And as I always like to tell the team, the first guy through the wall is always the bloodiest, you know. So we're trying to blaze a trail that people haven't done before with that, but starting to see an increasing amount of success. So there's ways that you can attack that, and we think, you know, by offering that four-cylinder, not only do you attack the greenhouse gas emissions issue, you're also giving them lower operational costs. And a lot of people in our industry look at what is the overall ownership cost, you know, not only from what it takes me to buy the vehicle, but the amount of fuel I have to run through it, the residual value. It's important to some of these larger fleets, particularly those heavily involved with rental and leasing.
One of the amazing things about Isuzu commercial trucking, 3 straight years of record-breaking sales.
Yes.
What's different? I mean, what are you doing that's driving that kind of desire for your product in the market?
I'd like our team to take credit for it but you know what? I think we do a lot of good things right, but I also think the market has been good for that. You know, I would say probably the hallmark of our business is not only are we blessed with a great marketplace right now, we really do work closely with our dealers, and I said it earlier, we try to use our size to our advantage. While we're a large commercial or medium duty truck manufacturer, in the larger scale of things, we're smaller, and we can use that to advantage. So listening to your dealers, listening to your customers, and making sure that and it's quite simple, easy to do business with. I always call it the path of least resistance. If we can be easy to do business with, more customers and dealers are going to do business with us because it's easier that way. And a lot of people, and we jokingly say in our business, a lot of people don't love trucks. Our truck is a tool in their bag. It is a work truck. They don't get into it and drive it to the office.
Emotional connection.
Exactly. There is typically not a huge emotional connection. They just want it to work right, and they want it, if it's broken, they want you to fix it quick and fix it right. So if we can ensure, like I said, back to that whole life cycle business model, a good customer experience, then they're going to see that truck as being not a worry. It's seamless to them. And I believe that that's really why we've been able to elevate our sales. You know, in addition to a healthy marketplace, it's really helped us, I think, to attract more customers and to keep our dealers engaged with our product because they know we'll stand behind the product and they know that we're going to provide a high-quality product to the customer.
This has been really fascinating. I mean, there's obviously the truck dealer model is different from the car dealer model. It's B2B instead of B2C.
Yes.
But there are so many lessons that can be learned on the B2C side. I mean, right now you have local dealerships, you know, from the 20 groups focusing on raising their service penetration. A lot of folks think that there's a trend line for car dealerships to start beginning to look more and more like truck dealerships. And I think that you guys have almost kind of have this model ready and built for them.
Well, I would love to say that it's perfected. I think it has, you know, we still have work to do, but yes, that has been part of that whole, like you said, life cycle business model that we've worked on. I know that when Glenn did the study for NADA and it was presented, I think it was just over maybe about a year and a half ago.
This is the Dealership of Tomorrow study.
And did a very nice job on that. And I know one of the sections was that he looked to the commercial truck or medium duty and heavy duty truck arena to say, hey, here is maybe some examples we can take and evolve them into the car business. And it is like, I think that if you've looked at historically the profitability within a truck dealership, it hasn't come as much from the sale of the vehicle. It's come more from the back end or the fixed operations with the service and parts because they've been a little bit, you know, you don't have a lot of people that can work on diesel engines. You don't have a lot of people that are working in that commercial truck segment. So it's taken a more specific touch to it. And I think what we've been able to create there is high brand loyalty, people returning to the dealerships, and that when the dealers sell a truck, it is more heavily based on relationship, I believe, because they need that truck to stay running, and once they've developed rapport with the dealer that can keep that truck, we talked about being seamless, as long as they know when they bring it in, it's going to get fixed right, and they're going to get a fair shake. They just want to get in and get it out. You know, price becomes less and less of an issue, and I believe that's what's really helped the truck business, is that you have a lot of people looking at that longer term relationship, and we do have the benefit of having a lot of customers that own multiple units. So that also, I think, drives some loyalty, which helps.
Indeed. Well, Shaun Skinner.
Jonathan, thank you.
President of Isuzu Commercial Trucks of America and Isuzu Commercial Trucks of Canada. Thank you for joining NADA Live. Continue to tune in to our Facebook channel as well as our live streaming website. And we'll be back for more throughout the morning and throughout the afternoon. Thank you for joining us.